Welcome to AI Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: the world is one wrong move from catastrophe, there are 10 ways it could happen. Asia in 2024, new leader in Taiwan, Indonesia shifts capital, Paris Olympics. China's semiconductor industry weathers tough year amid tighter US sanctions. OpenAI is a non-profit corporate hybrid, a management expert explains how this model works and how it fueled the tumult around CEO Sam Altman's short-lived ouster. Silicon Valley eyes reboot of Google Glass-style headsets. The world is one wrong move from catastrophe, there are 10 ways it could happen. Telegraph. The global economy faces numerous threats that could potentially derail prosperity in 2024. The 10 major events that could pose risks to the global economy include a potential re-election of Donald Trump as U.S. president, a Russian victory in the Ukraine war, the closure of major sea lanes, China weaponizing net zero, a blockade of Taiwan, AI-powered hackers, a collapse in the private equity industry, a deep recession in Germany, a stock market collapse in India, and a triumph of radical libertarianism in Argentina. While stability was maintained in 2023, there is no guarantee that the year ahead will be as benign. The potential re-election of Donald Trump is seen as a threat due to his protectionist policies, while his potential loss could lead to significant unrest and pose a threat to the American Republic. A Russian victory in the Ukraine war could lead to commodity price hikes and the risk of a wider conflict. The closure of major sea lanes, such as the Suez Canal or the Straits of Gibraltar, could disrupt global trade and trigger a full-blown global depression. China's control of net zero technology and the possibility of a blockade of Taiwan are also seen as potential risks to the global economy. AI-powered hackers could exploit vulnerabilities and cause major cyber attacks, while a collapse in the private equity industry could pose a systemic risk to the financial system. A deep recession in Germany could have global repercussions, and a stock market collapse in India could cause losses to ripple out across the world. Finally, the triumph of radical libertarianism in Argentina, if successful, could inspire similar movements globally, leading to disruptive reforms. While it is possible to sail through 2024 relatively unscathed, the potential for a catastrophe is present, and it is crucial to be prepared for any of these risks materializing. Asia in 2024, new leader in Taiwan, Indonesia shifts capital, Paris Olympics. Nikkei Asia. The year 2023 was marked by regional conflicts, natural disasters, and a fragile economic recovery in Asia. However, as we enter 2024, there are several significant events and elections that could reshape the region. In January, Bangladesh will hold its parliamentary elections, followed by Taiwan's presidential and legislative elections. In February, Myanmar will mark the 3rd anniversary of the military's power seizure, and Pakistan will hold its general election. Indonesia will hold its presidential and legislative elections in February as well. In March, Russia will hold its presidential election, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will visit Washington. In April, Formula One motor racing will return to Shanghai, South Korea will hold parliamentary elections, and India will hold its general elections. In May, trade ministers from APEC countries will meet in Peru. In June, the G7 summit will be held in Italy, and Tokyo will hold its gubernatorial election. In July, Paris will host the Summer Olympic Games, and Indonesia will begin relocating its capital to Borneo. In August, Indonesia's President Joko Widodo will transfer top government functions to the new capital. In September, Semicon Taiwan, a vital chip industry fair, will be held. In October, Indonesia's new president will take office. In November, the US will hold its presidential election, and the G20 summit will be held in Brazil. In December, Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong is set to step down, and Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company Kumamoto factory will begin shipping. These events and elections will have significant implications for the region and could shape the political, economic, and social landscape of Asia in 2024. China's semiconductor industry weathers tough year amid tighter US sanctions. South China Morning Post. China's domestic chip-making industry has made progress despite US tech sanctions blocking access to advanced chip-making tools and AI processors. Although the US moves exposed weak links in China's chip supply chain, they also provided the motivation for renewed efforts at achieving self-sufficiency in semiconductors. While China is far behind in high-end lithography systems, it could make progress in 2024. With China focusing on mature chip technology, the development of a 28nm lithography system is seen as a significant achievement, paving the way for upgrades to more complex lithography systems. OpenAI is a non-profit corporate hybrid, a management expert, explains how this model works and how it fueled the tumult around CEO Sam Altman's short-lived ouster. Yahoo! OpenAI's board of directors, a nonprofit overseeing a for-profit subsidiary, fired CEO Sam Altman in late November. Altman co-founded OpenAI in 2015 with a mission to build safe artificial general intelligence that benefits humanity. To raise capital, OpenAI established a holding company to take investor funds for a for-profit subsidiary. Investors have no board seats, and profits are capped at 100 times the initial investment. The board sought to exercise the duty of obedience when it fired Altman, with the official reason being a lack of candor with the board. Some anonymous employees have claimed that Altman was straying from OpenAI's mission. Silicon Valley eyes reboot of Google Glass-style headsets. Financial Times. Silicon Valley is hoping a new wave of smart glasses infused with artificial intelligence, AI, will succeed where Google Glass failed. The new glasses, led by Meta's Ray-Bans, feature constant access to ChatGPT-style assistants. While much of the recent hype has focused on Apple's upcoming mixed reality headset, some experts believe simpler glasses that rely more on voice than visuals are more likely to succeed. However, the idea of consumers wearing cameras on their faces and talking to virtual assistants through their glasses has yet to catch on. An artist in residence on AI's territory. New York Times. OpenAI, the company behind generative AI tools like ChatGPT and DALL-E, recently showcased criticism of AI-created art at a developer conference. However, the twist was that the criticism was written by AI itself. Artist Alexander Rebin combined his own code with GPT-4, a large language model, to generate the critical statements. Rebin will soon become OpenAI's first artist in residence, highlighting the growing interest and debate surrounding AI-generated art. Some artists and writers see AI as a powerful and innovative tool, while others express concerns about the use of their work without permission or credit. Rishi Sunak tried to lure me back to number 10, Dominic Cummings claims. Telegraph. Dominic Cummings, the former chief advisor to UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, claimed in an interview with the Sunday Times that he met with Chancellor Rishi Sunak to discuss returning to Downing Street. Cummings said that he offered to rejoin the Prime Minister's team if radical reforms were enacted, but when Sunak declined, Cummings said he would rather the Tories lose. Downing Street confirmed that the meetings took place but denied making an offer to Cummings. The former advisor also revealed that he advised Johnson to reverse tax rises, settle NHS strikes, rebuild the health service, and leave the European Convention on Human Rights. The words that tell the story of 2023. Telegraph. The Oxford Dictionary of Finance has revealed the new financial terms and phrases that have been added to its pages in 2023. Some of the new entries include greedflation, grey belt, and securonomics. Meanwhile, several terms and phrases have become obsolete and have been removed from the dictionary. Notable deletions include the pension lifetime allowance, Nestlé's Cara Mac, and the publication amateur gardening. The dictionary also highlights changes in names and branding, such as National Express Group becoming Mobico and Electrocomponents rebranding as RS Group. Ozempic drug maker to open AI research hub in King's Cross. Telegraph. Danish pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk has reportedly leased office space in London's Knowledge Quarter in King's Cross, with plans to open a new AI research hub in early 2024. The hub will bring together teams from Novo Nordisk's existing research, development and IT divisions and will focus on creating and applying artificial intelligence in the discovery and development of new drugs. The move reflects the growing role of the UK in the development of next-generation drugs, with more biotech businesses created in the country than anywhere else in Europe. Novo Nordisk is developing a pill version of its weight loss drug Wegovy and is exploring ways to prevent weight gain. The company's market value has risen more than 45% this year due to strong demand for obesity drugs. Director Christopher Nolan reckons with AI's Oppenheimer moment. Washington Post. Director Christopher Nolan has expressed concern that the comparison of artificial intelligence, AI, with nuclear weapons is distracting from current discussions about the technology. Speaking at a recent event in Washington, D.C., Nolan, who recently directed a film about the father of the atomic bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer, warned against viewing AI as a special case and suggested it be seen as a tool. Nolan called for greater accountability for those who wield the technology and cautioned against attributing godlike qualities to AI. The director said that rather than focusing on potential doomsday scenarios, policymakers should consider the immediate implications of AI, such as its impact on copyright and employment law. He added that the fusion of AI with his own work and other movies had created a race to develop and deploy AI systems. Earlier this year, leading technologists and policymakers gathered at Bletchley Park to discuss the safety of AI. Boom in AI prompts a test of copyright law. New York Times. The New York Times has filed a copyright infringement lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft over the use of AI. The lawsuit argues that OpenAI's ChatGPT and Microsoft's Bing Chat can produce content that is nearly identical to Times articles and that the companies are free-riding on the newspaper's massive investment in its journalism. OpenAI and Microsoft have stated that they are discussing data licensing agreements with several news organizations, but if no agreements are reached, the courts may have to determine the limits of copyright in AI, which could take years. Citizenship in the age of data, the critical role of libraries for digital literacy. The Toronto Star. Libraries can play a crucial role in helping the public understand and adapt to the changes brought about by artificial intelligence, AI, according to an op-ed in the Toronto Star. The author argues that libraries have long been repositories of knowledge and information and are well equipped to teach digital literacy skills. Libraries also protect public interests and manage data ownership, and their resilience makes them well suited to adapt to evolving technologies. Policymakers should recognize the expertise of librarians and the community trust that libraries foster, the author concludes. $20 for flipping burgers? California minimum wage increase will cost consumers and workers. Yahoo! Pizza Hut is laying off more than 1,000 delivery drivers in California in anticipation of the state's minimum wage rising from $16 to $20 an hour in April 2023, according to federal and state filings. McDonald's and Chipotle have already announced price rises in California to pay for the state's new minimum wage law. Companies may be looking to replace employees with automated systems, as already seen with Starbucks, Domino's and Chipotle, who are touting new automated food service technologies to reduce the cost of labor. These fashion podcasts pull back the curtain on why we dress the way we do, and more. The Globe and Mail. Podcasts are becoming increasingly popular in the fashion industry, offering a range of topics from behind-the-scenes gossip to historical studies. Avery Trufelman launched her fashion podcast, Articles of Interest, in 2018 as a spin-off of the architecture and design podcast 99% Invisible. Trufelman saw the lack of discussion around clothing and audio storytelling and decided to provide this information to her listeners. The podcast has been well received, with a near 5-star review average on Spotify. Trufelman's interviews at the Hot Docs Podcast Festival were informative and covered topics from cultural appropriation to the importance of specific design details. Other fashion podcasts have found similar success, such as Dressed, The History of Fashion and Black Fashion History. For those interested in sustainability, Wardrobe Crisis examines issues relating to the fibers used in fashion. Luxury fashion houses are also getting involved in the podcasting world. Louis Vuitton launched Louis Vuitton Extended in September, while Chanel connects pairs talents from different disciplines in conversation. Meanwhile, the business of fashion has a podcast that often explores fashion in unexpected ways. Israel's Gaza bombing campaign is the most destructive of this century, analysts say. CBC. Satellite technology is being used to track the bomb damage caused by the war in Gaza. Corey Schurz of the City University of New York Graduate Center and Jamon van den Hoek of Oregon State University have applied data from the Copernicus Sentinel-1 satellite to Gaza and found unprecedented levels of destruction. They have compared the destruction in Gaza to that seen in other conflicts, such as Ukraine, Syria, and Yemen, and have concluded that the intensity and pace of the bombing in Gaza is unlike anything they have seen before. The researchers have also compared the destruction in Gaza to the Allied bombing campaign over Germany during World War II and found that the percentage of Gaza's buildings that have been damaged or destroyed has already surpassed the destruction in Cologne and Dresden and is approaching the level of Hamburg. Well, my dear viewers, it seems like we're just one wrong move away from catastrophe. According to The Telegraph, there are 10 major events that could pose risks to the global economy in 2024. From a potential re-election of Donald Trump as U.S. president to a triumph of radical libertarianism in Argentina, the world is on the edge of its seat. But hey, let's not panic just yet. We've made it through 2023 relatively unscathed, so there's hope for a smooth sail ahead. Now, let's dig into these threats a little deeper. The potential re-election of Donald Trump is seen as a threat due to his protectionist policies, while a Russian victory in the Ukraine war could lead to commodity price hikes and wider conflict. The closure of major sea lanes could disrupt global trade, and China's control of net zero technology and the possibility of a blockade of Taiwan are also seen as potential risks. AI-powered hackers and a collapse in the private equity industry could cause major disruptions in the financial system. And let's not forget about the deep recession in Germany and the stock market collapse in India, which could have global repercussions. Lastly, a triumph of radical libertarianism in Argentina could inspire similar movements globally, leading to disruptive reforms. Phew, that's quite a list, isn't it? But remember, my dear viewers, these are just potential risks. We can't let fear control us. It's important to be prepared, but also to keep a level head and focus on the positive. After all, stability was maintained in 2023, so there's hope for a prosperous year ahead. Now, I'd love to hear from you, my witty and insightful viewers. What are your thoughts on these potential threats to the global economy? Do you think we should be worried, or are you feeling optimistic about the future? Share your ideas and let's have a lively discussion. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.